Dream Team? It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with how the Berlin Wall worked. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Let's see how this wall works.
Imagine having to split a city into two completely separate parts. Roads that used to connect are now dead ends. Your job on the other side of the city inaccessible, and the neighbor across the street that you used to see daily, you will perhaps never speak to him again. The Berlin Wall did exactly that, separating East and West for almost 30 years.
That's legit insane, dog. The job, can you just imagine like going to work and then you can't work there no more because you live on the wrong side of the wall? You ain't gonna see your across the street neighbor no more because y'all live on opposite sides of this wall. Dang, bro, that wall changed everything. See, we didn't learn about the Berlin Wall here in America, and if we did, it wasn't at my school. I ain't learned nothing about the Berlin Wall. So that's crazy to think. Why did they just decide, hey, let's put a wall up, divide East and West?
For this video, I've animated the various development stages of the wall in order to understand the design of this unique piece of architecture. This is how the Berlin Wall worked. Living in Berlin before the wall was built was a strange life. You could move around the entire city freely, but you were either an East Berliner or a West Berliner.
Okay.
After the Second World War, the victorious nations had divided the German city into several parts. The Soviet occupation zone ultimately became the territory of East Germany, a socialist state. And the western part of Berlin remained legally occupied, but in all practicality, it belonged to West Germany, a capitalist state. Socialism and capitalism, two different nations, and even two different currencies, separated only by streets. Trains connecting the different parts of the city would make announcements. Next station, last stop in the eastern zone. Many people lived in one part of the city but worked in the other. East Berliners took jobs in the West in order to benefit from the stronger currency, while West Berliners got their haircuts in the East at prices that were much cheaper to them. And in a way—
Dang, hold up, it don't sound too bad. This ain't sounding too bad, dog. Let me go over here so I can make a little bit more money. You feel me? Currency shop. Alright, but let me go over here so I can get these cheap haircuts, so I can get things at a cheaper price. It don't sound half bad.
Both systems tried to outdo the other. In West Berlin, a multitude of stores sprang up on the Kurfürstendamm Street, shop windows filled with the latest brand name products of Western consumer culture. While just a few streets away in East Berlin, there was Stalinallee, a street that was transformed into a boulevard full of buildings in the style of socialist classicism. But this open coexistence of two systems wouldn't last long.
I feel that.
On the 13th of August 1961, Berlin woke up to a divided city. The East German government closed the border, which means that families were split apart. Though officially stating that this was necessary to protect their country, it was an effort to stop their own citizens from fleeing to the West, where opportunities, wages, and freedoms seemed greater.
Crazy.
At the start—
Yeah, at first they say, I was like, it don't sound half bad. Don't sound like a pretty good system. Now it sounds awful. Now that they said, all right, you can't come over here. You can't take opportunities over here. You got to stay where you at. If you got family over here, oh well, you ain't gonna see them. Get used to talking to them on the phone because that's it. That's all you're gonna be able to do. That's crazy. But was there like, if you had like a pass or something, could you travel through both freely? Or like if you was just on one side when they put the wall up, you just stuck there, you ain't getting back to the other side? Or if they give you warnings, hey, this wall is coming up here and after this time you will not be able to go to the other side? I need answers. I got too many questions.
Where opportunities, wages, and freedoms seemed greater. At the start, this was just a wall in name. It mostly consisted of fences and loose pieces of barbed wire, manned by guards. There
Wow.
were some unguarded stretches, and it was even possible to jump across.
Oh, really?
To make escaping more difficult, construction immediately began on a more permanent wall, made out of concrete and topped off with barbed wire coil around a Y-shaped metal arm.
Oh yeah, you ain't jumping over
But
that,
this
big
is
dog.
not how the wall looked everywhere. A shortage of building materials meant that in the first years, just 10% of the border was built like this. And there was another issue. Sometimes the border between West and East Berlin went straight through housing blocks, houses that now had to become part of the wall. The East German authorities forced people out of their homes and filled the windows with bricks. Sometimes, however,
Nah. East Germany was wildin'. East Germany was wildin', dog. Y'all was wildin'.
they would forget a window. On August 17, 1962, Peter Fechter discovers one such house, making up part of the wall. Peter is frustrated with the East German government as they won't let him see his sister that lives on the other side of the wall. Together with his colleague Helmut, he fantasizes about an escape to the west. The two of them see people inside the house, and in order not to be noticed, they take off their shoes and quietly creep in. By sheer luck, they quickly find the open window, and from here they have a clear view of the road to freedom. A fence, then a clear strip, and finally a wall. It seems doable, except for the fact that they are in plain sight of the nearby border guards.
Nah.
Suddenly, they hear voices behind them, and it is now or never. Peter and Helmut jump out of the window and climb the first fence. Then they are spotted, and immediately the guards open fire. Helmut dashes.
Why would y'all do it? Why? I guess the government must have been that bad, I assume. But Jesus, for just open fire right away? Can we get some warnings? Can we get a y'all stay on that side? Can we get something? It's just legit open fire straight away is crazy. It's insane. God dang, bro. They dead. They gotta be dead. They ain't no way they getting over this other wall with the barbed wire on top
The
of it.
guards open fire.
Ain't no way.
Helmut dashes across the strip through a haze of bullets. As he scales the wall, he looks back and he sees his friend Peter frozen in place. The guards are closing in further, and they will have a clear shot soon. Helmut screams, and Peter finally springs into action. He makes it across the strip, but as he jumps up to scale the wall, he is hit mid-air and snaps down. Helmut can't help his friend. An entire 50 minutes passes as a crowd of onlookers gathers to see Peter lying on the ground, slowly dying at the base of the wall.
Crazy.
Tragic stories like Peter Fechter's were widely covered in the West. But for the East German authorities, the only lesson learned was to increase the wall. Over the course of decades, the wall is consistently upgraded, with more and more increasing security features. What once was a single wall soon became a brutal border strip, cutting the city further and further apart. As improvements to the wall were made, escape attempts shifted to new methods, and the wall would be expanded again, a back and forth that was repeated until the last version of the wall was.
Bro, when you gotta trap people inside, come on. When you gotta trap people inside, dog, you just ain't got no good place to live in. It ain't a good place to live if you gotta trap people inside out of fear of them going to look for more opportunity and stuff elsewhere. You gotta trap them in, then yeah, you just... It sounds like a bad place to live. Because I would hate to be trapped in somewhere, dog, where I couldn't go nowhere. So where it's one side of Germany, they don't mind if I'm over there, but this side mind because they don't want me seeking opportunities and stuff elsewhere because they need me here. Nah, Nah. That's wild.
A back and forth that was repeated until the last version of the wall was built. The version of the wall that became famous. From 1975 on, the East German authorities rolled out this version of the wall, a border virtually impossible for anyone to cross. And this is how it generally worked. Coming from the east, only the visual barrier made of concrete slabs can be seen. This was done so that the exact border fortifications are not visible, as this knowledge could be used to plan escape attempts. Just behind this barrier, the ground is covered in so-called Stalin's grass. These are mats made of steel needles that would pierce the foot of anyone trying to jump across. Next up is a signal fence consisting of barbed wire stretched over concrete posts. Anyone trying to scale this fence would quickly press the wires together, triggering an alarm and notifying the guards in a nearby watchtower.
That's why
Watchtowers were manned 24/7 by 2 to 5 soldiers. These soldiers had a clear view of the whole border, with orders to shoot anyone on sight.
That's
Trying to use brute force to break these sections would not work either, as behind the signal fence are several rows of tank traps, barring anyone from driving through with a vehicle. In the middle of this border zone is a path for soldiers to patrol the area, oftentimes accompanied by dogs.
Oh my god!
Behind this is the so-called death strip. A stroke of dirt stretching for miles in every direction, in full sight of the guard towers. Hiding is impossible. And if anyone somehow made it past here, they reach a part that is easily recognizable: the wall facing the western side. In contrast to the old wall, these elements had a foot-shaped bottom, which meant that no holes in the ground were needed for their construction. And instead of barbed wire on top, there were now pipes made of asbestos concrete. These pipes provided stability for the wall elements, and the East German authorities also hoped that they would decrease the prison camp feeling of the previous wall. But this was not the only reason for the change. The new concrete used was extremely smooth with—
What you mean decrease the prison camp feeling? Y'all got these East German citizens in the prison camp, dog. If y'all say y'all are not allowed to go here, was they allowed to leave East Germany to go elsewhere? To go to other countries? This is wild to me. Like, this is absolutely wild. I didn't know all this about the Berlin Wall. I didn't know I knew of a Berlin Wall. I didn't know details of why it was there, how it was there, why Germany got split like that. This is crazy.
With nothing to grasp onto. One thing the authorities didn't consider, however, is that this smoothness made the wall an easy target for graffiti from the western side. Graffiti that would dominate many of the 45,000 elements that were placed in Berlin. Artworks that would often mock the East German government resulted in an open gallery of sorts, highlighting the harsh difference between life in the West, where free artistic expression was possible, and life in the East, where this was unthinkable.
I swear to God.
Exact numbers of victims from this wall are disputed, and it is something that to this day is being researched. But over the years, it was many who, just like Peter Fechter, were hoping for a better life on the other side of the wall.
That's crazy.
But the Berlin Wall was only a small part of the division of Germany. In addition to Berlin, the whole country was also divided into two parts, and some people made daring attempts, risking their lives to try to get to freedom. For example, the two friends Günter Wetzel and Peter Strelzik, who wanted to build a better life for themselves in the West. And after coming across an article about hot air balloons, an insane plan was born.
No
The two
way.
decided to build their own homemade hot air balloon to escape across the border.
What?
After everything is sewn together, the burner is started and the balloon takes off. But then, immediately after taking off, a huge hole is torn in the top of the balloon and they could crash to the ground from over 6,000 feet. I made a complete video about this spectacular balloon escape with some of my most elaborate animations and illustrations.
I gotta
and I
watch
was able
it.
to interview Günther for this project, who told me how the daring escape attempt went.
Plötzlich kamen vom Boden 3 Scheinwerferstrahlen auf uns zu und nach kurzer Zeit ist auch unsere Flamme ausgegangen.
This documentary is part of my ongoing
I've
Nebula
got
original
to
series
watch
Under
that.
Exposure, in which I create higher budget productions, such as my video about the Bin Laden raid, with detailed animations exploring how the raid unfolded, or my video about the Tenerife disaster, the worst aviation accident that ever happened. Videos that are not made for the YouTube algorithm, but unrushed storytelling. Nebula is a creator-owned streaming service where the likes of Johnny Harris, Wendover Productions, Real Life Lore, or The Present Past
wow.
post their videos early, ad-free, and create higher-budget originals. The Present Past actually wrote the script for this very video with me, and he has his own fantastic video out about all the different borders in the world, which I would highly recommend checking out. So go to nebula.tv/Neal and make sure that you use that very link so that you get 40% off on an annual plan. All my exclusive videos are up there. So
Dang, I gotta go check that out, dog. That's crazy. They escaped in a hot air balloon. Is wild. East Germany. Well, it had to be a dictatorship, dog. That's wild. It was under Stalin? Nah, yeah, that's crazy, dog. That's all we got. Make sure y'all subscribe, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up. It's your boy D Neal. Out.